Welcome back to the Bulletproof Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Drew Ozenchuk, and you can follow me on Twitter at DFBeanCounter. So today we're going to talk about league-winning upside. I have a player that I want you to buy because he has the potential to win you your league. Not just like a casual buy low that might help you out. This is a guy that could actually win you your league. His name is Cam Newton. He plays for the New England Patriots. I don't know if you guys know this. I feel like a lot of people don't based on what I've been seeing on Twitter. Cam Newton actually was number 16 quarterback in fantasy scoring last season in 2020. He was quarterback 16, 17.8 points per game. He did that on the back of 2,657 passing yards. You heard that right. He had 2,600 passing yards and he was the quarterback 16 on the year. That is absurd. He actually had 8 passing touchdowns last year and finished quarterback 16. 8 passing touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes has multiple 6 touchdown games. Cam Newton just put up a quarterback 16 finish with 8 passing touchdowns on this season. This is stranger than fiction. This is so bizarre. So bizarre. So what happened? Let's quickly talk about what happened. Cam Newton in his career has averaged 7.3 yards per attempt. That's not so bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. In 2020, he averaged 7.2 yards per attempt. He was right on his career average. He was no worse of a passer last year than he has been throughout his entire career. A lot of people are saying he's a bad passer. He's always been a bad passer. That's not his game. It's fine if he's a bad passer because he brings the rushing element to the game. He's a rushing touchdown savant. He always has been. That's his thing. His completion percentage was actually among the best of his entire career. He had a 65.8% completion percentage last year. His career average is 60.1. He smashed it. He wasn't a bad passer compared to Cam Newton last year. He was a bad passer compared to, the average quarterback. Because he's always been a bad passer. 65.8 is nothing to sneeze at, though. And then his touchdown rate. This is what really hurt him in the fantasy scoring department. I mean, kind of, because he made up for it with rushing touchdowns. But his career touchdown rate was 4.4%. He chopped that in half in 2020 with a 2.2%. He didn't throw any touchdown passes. He only had 8 the whole year. So it's not really that surprising that people are down on him. But the question is, why was his passing so abysmal? Because the efficiency wasn't that bad other than touchdown rate. Aside from that, his yards per attempt, his completion percentage, they're right there with his career average or above. But what changed in 2020 from the rest of his career was that the rest of his career average is 32.1 attempts per game. That's a 16 game pace of 513 pass attempts. Last year, he had 24.5 attempts per game for a 16 game pace of 392 attempts. His volume was down 121 attempts. Below his career average, not below his career ceiling, below his career average. This was the lowest volume season from Cam Newton's career. This may be one of the lowest volume seasons we've seen, in the Super Bowl era. I didn't go back that far. I only look at Cam's stats. I'm sorry. It's a really low volume season though. Like 392 passing attempts is basically nothing. They more or less didn't believe in the forward pass. Like, it's that bad. So should we expect some optimism here? Is there a return to glory for Cam Newton? Well, when we look at the situation last year, his leading receiver's name was Jacoby Myers. Unless you're a diehard, you probably didn't even know who Jacoby Myers was coming into this year. You dynasty players did, but I'm talking the redraft because they had no idea who Jacoby Myers was. Damiere Byrd was the second leading receiver on the team. Damiere Byrd washed out of Arizona. He could barely get on the field and run 4 wide receiver sets. And they don't have good receivers to begin with. And he could barely get on the field. Last year, he was the second leading receiver for the New England Patriots. That's absurd. James White was third. That's not that crazy. He's usually in that range. And then Julian Edelman with 6 games played was 4th. And then N'Keal Harry was 5th. There was no one to throw to. Ryan Izzo was the leading tight end. This is a team that used to feature Rob Gronkowski. And there's a ton of bad narratives out there, especially right now with the signing of Jonnu Smith about how the Patriots feature the tight end. The Patriots don't feature the friggin' tight end. The Patriots featured Rob Gronkowski because he's one of the best tight ends in the history of the world. That's why they passed on the tight end. Anyway, we're going to talk about that later. We'll get back to that. Right now, we're focusing on Cam Newton. And what I got to tell you is that Cam Newton is severely undervalued. What happens next? Day 1 of free agency, Bill Belichick goes out and signs 3 pass catchers, Jonnu Smith to play tight end, Nelson Aguilar to be their wide receiver, and Kendrick Bourne to, I don't know what Kendrick Bourne is going to do. He's not very good, so it doesn't matter. Which is saying something that Nelson Aguilar is maybe the best signing of the 3. That's kind of scary, but at least they're NFL players. Like Ryan Izzo isn't an NFL player. He just isn't. And Jacoby Myers is a nice story, but he's nothing more than a role player. And Damiere Byrd probably just doesn't belong on the field. Like he can play special teams. These guys are all going to be in the starting lineup. They have just upgraded their entire receiving core in one day. This is a team admitting that their receiving core was terrible, and they're apologizing to Cam Newton for asking him to carry the entire offense on his shoulders last year. It was him and no one else. But he's Superman, so that's fine. He can handle it. Obviously, he was QB 16. He didn't have anyone to throw to. And they didn't ask him to throw because he didn't have anyone to throw to. But here's the thing about Cam Newton. Cam Newton is like the epitome of consistent excellence, to an extent. When we're looking at top 5 seasons, because this is why I'm interested in Cam Newton, because he has the potential to put up a top 5 season. It's going to be top. He has a high floor because he's such a good rusher, but he has that elite potential. He can be a top 5 quarterback. Here are the leaders in top 5 season rate since entering the NFL. Of quarterbacks drafted since 2003. So number 1, Deshaun Watson. He has been a top 5 quarterback 75% of the time. The time he missed was when he was a rookie and he got hurt like 5 games in, and he was on a quarterback 1 pace, like quarterback 1 overall pace. Deshaun Watson's he prints money basically. If you're playing fantasy and you don't have Deshaun Watson, you should try to get him too because he's automatic. Aaron Rodgers is the next best with 56.25% of his seasons being top 5. Patrick Mahomes, 50% of his seasons have been top 5. Kyler Murray, 50% of his seasons have been top 5. Russell Wilson, 44% of his seasons have been top 5. And then we have Cam Newton with 40% of his seasons being top 5. That's everyone. That's everyone that has a more consistent top 5 rate than Cam Newton, which is to say Cam Newton is one of the best bets at having a top 5 season. They've just upgraded the entire offense around Cam Newton. This is happening. Cam Newton has top 5 upside this year. So what can you buy him for? Well, according to Dynasty Football Trade Analyzer, his value is roughly the equivalent of the 2.12 in a superflex league. I would give that up every single day. There isn't a world in which I'm not falling over myself to give my 2.12 to get Cam Newton. That's an easy buy. Easy buy. And then they have this thing where they have suggested additions. So these are the players that are valued, a little bit above Cam Newton, but in the same ballpark. We got Chase Edmonds. I'd give him gone. Cam Newton for Chase Edmonds, easy. Melvin Gordon, that'd be a little closer for me. I think Melvin Gordon might have a good season. Evan Ingram, probably maybe in a extreme tight end premium league, I'd rather have Ingram. Devontae Parker, get out of here. Will Fuller, we'll see where he lands. Probably not, though. Kenyon Drake, easily gone. Ben Roethlisberger, he's not going to be a top 5 quarterback. Ben Roethlisberger is like the low floor play, right? Or the high floor play, right? Like he's going to be, QB 15 at worst, and he's probably going to be QB 15 at worst almost every single week. Like he's never going to have those huge clunkers. Cam Newton could have some clunkers, but Cam Newton could be a top 5 quarterback, and top 5 quarterbacks win you your championship. Ben Roethlisberger can't win you your championship. I'm sorry. He can help, but he can't win it. And then Michael Gallup, this one's a tough one. I'd take Cam Newton, but if you're in a rebuild, I'd maybe hold on to Gallup. It's hard to say. The bottom line in looking at all of this is that if you do not have Cam Newton on your squad, as soon as possible, you are committing fantasy football malpractice.